Welcome, everyone. My name is Ali Zuba, and I am the Director of Marketing and Operations for Main Street Yoga Centers, our location in Madison, and our growing therapeutic location in Stoughton, Wisconsin, serving the greater Madison area and beyond. I am here with Chris Schlapper. He is inviting us into a conversation about alignment yoga and how it might relate to this therapeutic methodology we're working with in Stoughton called SomaYoga. And so, my background and how I connected with Chris is through a therapeutic yoga training through Yoga North Duluth. It's Soma Yoga Therapy. I'm a certified yoga therapist as well as Chris is, and we've spent 3+ years immersed in the methodology with Ann Maxwell and Molly McManus out of Duluth, Minnesota. They've been operating for 25 years, and we're pleased to bring their methodology to the greater Madison area. And Chris and I are faculty in those programs, and we're here to just tell you a little bit more about why this training and this style might be well suited for you. So, Chris, let's hear from you. What's your background and interests in yoga?
Thanks, Alec. It's good to chat with you. I appreciate this opportunity. So I have a long career in fitness training. I have been teaching fitness classes, group fitness classes, for about almost 40 years now. My first love was aerobic dance. Loved it. But a lot of it was very focused on upregulating cardio intensive strength training. So a lot of the higher load sort of things. And about 15 years or so in, I started recognizing that I needed more balance in what I was teaching and what I was doing for myself. And I thought of yoga and I loved so I had a brief encounter with yoga when I was 4 years old. There was a TV program on PBS called Hatha Yoga, at least to my 4-year-old memory. This could be wrong. And I remember practicing like yoga watching this TV program and I loved it. It felt so, I didn't have the language at the time, but it felt really embodying, really empowering. It felt really helped me feel my body and it just was really profoundly lovely. And so as I was thinking about how do I want to balance out this high intensity work that I'm doing, I thought of yoga and really had this respect for it and wanted to approach it well. And so I dabbled in some trainings, but then eventually found a friend of mine, Kim, was a fellow teacher, and she's a physical therapist. And she said, "You've got to try this alignment yoga program. This is in southern Wisconsin." And she said, "It's going to be what you're looking for." And it was. It was a wonderful program. Scott Anderson is the founder of the program. And there's another pod of alignment yoga people I know in Eugene, I think in Eugene, Oregon. They're in Oregon somewhere, Oregon State. And and so I took the training. That's my 200-hour background. And that's part of what we were thinking about speaking to today is just I really loved it. It fit perfectly with what I was doing, what I wanted to do. It fit with the way I've always approached any kind of training experience. I like helping people to embody their own experience. So I was never one of those people who's like, push harder, push through the pain. I was like, let's use your pain, help it teach you, let's think about our goals. Let's think about how we can do the best we can and not hurt ourselves. So that brought me to alignment yoga. And then as I continued with alignment yoga, I wanted to keep my progressing and learning. I'm a lifelong learner, an eternal learner, a friend of mine recently said, which I love. And yoga just has such depth to it and the studying and the learning. And so then I was fortunate to find the Soma Yoga program in Duluth. And so I was really fortunate to do the 500-hour and then take the 1,000-hour yoga therapy training. So that's kind of my journey.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I can relate to the lifelong learner and this um, urge to learn and experience more just for my own personal development as a human and a person in a body that wants to feel good or and use my body well through all activities from that fitness-based approach to that more mindful therapeutic approach and to heal some of maybe the things that are a bit painful, whether it's on the body or the mental mind layer. And we know yoga is good for both those layers. So I'm really curious, what is alignment yoga and like what's the foundation of alignment yoga? And we might get into then how it relates to Soma
Hmm.
yoga and how you found that path to pursue therapeutic yoga.
Sounds good. Alignment Yoga was a program set up, as I say, by Scott Anderson here, and my understanding is Southern Wisconsin. And this is also to my understanding. I may have the story somewhat wrong. I came rather late to the party here. Um, but an alignment yoga program, alignment yoga class has five hallmarks that define what is alignment yoga. And these hallmarks include the first is the three fundamentals, where we focus on grounding. It's called authentic breath, where you're just finding the right breath for the moment. You're not pushing or pulling it. You're not straining with it. You're just finding a comfortable breath. And then we calm and settle the roof of the mouth. We open up space into the palate. And so that's the first hallmark. And then we do pre-yoga, which essentially just is before doing asana practice, we do little warm-ups. And that could be breath work, meditation. It could be small little movement patterns, just to kind of become embodied. And then we have the recipe, which essentially is how the class is structured, how the practice is structured. And it's essentially a bell curve. You start gentle and build, and then come to a certain degree of intensity, and then start coming back down and bringing that back into calmness and regulation and shavasana. They also talk about win-win alignment. And I love the way it was described to me as don't steal from one part of your body in order to feel sensation somewhere else. And then action and resistance. And so in every posture, there were kind of two aspects that I found in action and resistance. You would move in and out of muscular engagement and release to kind of see where you're at. And then we would hold a posture. In alignment yoga, we typically hold, it's a slower hatha practice. And we would typically hold a posture for 5 or 10 slow breaths. And so before you hold that pose, you want to kind of find where the just right position and the just right engagement is for each individual person, and then work with that, and then hold the position kind of isometrically as well. So it builds some strength and connection. Also, alignment yoga is a descendant of Iyengar, the Iyengar lineage, and so we make use of blocks, we props, we make use of a lot of discussion of just how does the pose land in your body? What is your expression of a movement of a pose?
Well, I appreciate learning those hallmarks of alignment yoga. And as it relates to my Hatha Vinyasa background, some of that is similar. But there was some keys in there that I think I'm starting to turn with like, oh, that's part of Soma Yoga too. That's
Exactly.
we're active in that practice. So do you have a couple of those comments about how Soma Yoga would relate directly to someone who has an alignment yoga background?
Yeah, definitely. And I appreciate that. With just thinking with the three fundamentals, one of the things I found fascinating is they described calming the roof of the mouth, but I think about just the cerebral nerves coming out and how that's that region. And so that connects to the nerves through the face. It connects to the vagus nerve, which connects to our whole nervous system and helps us downregulate and regulate ourselves well. And so that really is a profound practice that we do so beautifully with somatic work and kind of grow and enrich in that and deepen that as well. And of course, in Soma Yoga, we typically work with subtle breathing. And so that can be really powerful, learning to regulate our energy and to breathe well. Um, I love with action resistance, I look at that as pendiculations. In a pendiculation, we're moving in and out of muscular contraction, and we're looking for that just right engagement. We're looking to release held tension. And so that feels really harmonious with that concept from alignment yoga as well.
Yeah. I love those parallels you're making, and it seems like you were well suited to go right into a therapeutic program from your background, one in fitness and then in this alignment-based yoga. And something you said a couple times was that downregulating of the system, the rest and digest, the
Yes.
turning on the healing, organic healing mechanisms in the body, and that is kind of the stakehold of this program. It is not push hard, go fast. This is a slowing down practice and really a training of the mind in relation to the body and even how we relate to movement in our body. And so thank you for sharing all that. I think there's wonderful parallels.
Can I expand on what you're saying too? I was thinking with Soma Yoga, just the concept of the Soma, of ourselves from within, the complete expression of our being, both physical, mental, emotional, energetic connections, and how Soma Yoga supports us on all of those different layers and helps us really connect within our own practice and help us guide other people to connect to our own Soma's capacity to heal, to self-regulate, and that's what's really lovely and profound about the practice, I find.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'd like to just chat briefly now about what type of person would be probably well suited or interested in taking a training program or classes based on the Soma Yoga methodology. And right away, what's coming to mind for me is someone that has familiarity with yoga, but it doesn't even have to be someone that's trained to be a teacher. I think of someone who's practiced yoga for 10, 15, 20 years that may need a little rejuvenation, or maybe they're feeling, that their body isn't quite resonating with some of the postures that they once were doing, 10, 15 years ago. So who do you think would be the right type of person to kind of jump into a training or a Soma yoga class?
Well, I'm going to answer anyone, everyone. So sorry, but I do believe that. But also I think one of the things that I'm focused on or working with in my own practice and then in my teaching is aging well and maintaining function, maintaining capacity to move, to enjoy life, to experience and keep active. I'm thinking also part of the reason I wanted to speak with you is that the alignment yoga program is not an ongoing program. And so I want to reach out to people who may practice alignment yoga or may teach alignment yoga and may be looking for something to continue their education and to learn different pathways and deeper pathways and just continue to grow and be lifelong learners as you and I are. I think that's really helpful and supportive as well. I love that you mentioned people, you don't have to be a teacher to do this training. Um, this can really this can really transform how you experience your yoga practice and how you experience your life off of the mat as well.
Yeah, that's so powerful. We know the benefits of yoga aren't just on the mat, they go beyond that. And I'm just overjoyed to be expanding our network in this way and talking with yoga teachers and interested and curious students about this more therapeutic practice. And as Chris mentioned, we have trainings coming up. We'd love to invite anyone who's curious to come into a training. We have shorter master classes, or we have longer form 3-day immersions specifically for learning the methodology. And maybe once you've experienced a couple classes, that's when you might get that hunger to do a little bit more, jump into a multi-day workshop or a multi-hour workshop. And so we do have something coming up in January at Main Street Yoga Stoughton, and that is the therapeutic approach to classic asana. We'll also be offering a stress, anxiety, and depression workshop coming up in the spring, and in addition to longer form trainings. And you can find all of that information at mainstreetyogastoughton.org/events. Lots of new things coming up there. Anything else you want to invite folks to here, Chris?
Oh, I think that's terrific, Ellie. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much.